I'm just fighting for my life. I'm always on max grip, which of course, I mean, you're supposed to be your race cars, but like you just feel it in this track, and like any mistake you make, it's just, oh well, I looks a
Punished.
little late, or I overestimated how much grip I have. Oh well, looks like I missed the apex by 4 years. It's and it's just constant, hardly any straights, just bam, 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 left, right, left, right, right, left, right. It's work, this track. If
I pick
you,
my word. It's awkward.
yeah, and
Awkward. That's perfect.
when I got in the groove of it, it almost felt a little Suzuka-like. You can get in a trance and, you know, just flow with it, but it's hard getting there.
That's a good way to put it. It's like Suzuka with a little bit less flow.
I'll take 3 hours of Suzuka over this track any day. And speaking of, we have our Suzuka endurance race.
That's right.
You guys are chiming in for the stream. Got to give a little shout out to our endurance series. We are on our final call for signups, so it's happening very soon here. Let me take a look at that.
Things are happening very quickly. This time yesterday I didn't have a team, and now I have 2 teammates. Looking for a 4th.
Oh.
We might have a 4th, actually. I don't know. Things are happening.
Yeah, so the race is on the 24th. So if you're chiming in here, whether you're in SRA or not in SRA, and you're interested in participating in an endurance race at Suzuka, please make sure to join into our server and go into the registration, find a team, and sign up. It's going to be an absolute blast. You're going to be able to see that awesome Ferris wheel in the night, and you're going to be going, wow, that's a cool Ferris wheel.
That's exactly what you're going to be saying.
That's what I say every time.
Awkward is a very good term for this track. Every single corner is just awkward. There's no point in this track, in my opinion, where the car feels good. I think every corner, it's just pain.
Yeah.
It's a little bit awkward. Yeah, I don't know how to describe it, but yeah.
The South Africans, they know how to catch you off guard here.
Let's
So
ride
let's
along
kick
with
it
Andrew
back.
Anderson. He's just starting a lap right now. So you got this huge curb up your inside on the right-hander, awkward. Same thing for the left-hander, awkward. This one, awkward. You get on the gas too soon, you go visit that gravel on the outside, and of course you can't take the apex too soon because awkward, you'll flip. Awkward here, you're on max grip, but don't you dare touch that curb or you spin too hard, and don't you dare miss your miss it too far, or you're not gonna be able to have as much speed straight through. Big wet curb, awkward. Death on the right, awkward. Braking over a curb, left-hander, just barely holding on. It's non-stop. It's non-stop. Pressure all the time. You take a breather right here, and you're like, okay, I know where I brake for here. It's right at the top. And then you can plan, and then you're like, all right, got a big straight. You can kind of figure out what the hell's going on right now. But from start to now, it's non-stop. Well,
even still, this straight is awkward. If you don't have the correct lineup
That's
for
right.
this left-hander here, you got to get off
when
the
I'm
throttle.
on it. Yeah, I keep it in 4th. I have to lift as I turn, and then I can get back on it after I cross the big puddle. This one also, well, I'm sure it's easier for my betters, but this one right here, to take it with any speed, you have to be brave and firm on the brakes without unsettling the car, and then being brave turning in and not being scared you're gonna hit. I think it's called Cheetah. It's some big cat.
Cheetah.
Yeah. It's just hard. It's pretty unforgiving.
I think the only turn out of those that I'm confident in is the very last turn. So
Yeah,
it's
it's funny that we've just described them all so terrifyingly, but I think the magic of the D1 drivers is they you know, dance around this track like they're pros and they're racing on it, right? So credit to the D1 drivers for being able to navigate this track and race on it and put down some really great times.
Like they're pros, I would argue that many of these people are pros and can set times with the best of them.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting to see how a lot of these drivers can navigate this. Right now we have the silver division out, which is the ever so slightly slower division, but I wouldn't count these folks out either, because if any of these silver drivers put in just a little bit extra practice, they can hang with the golds as well. So when we get the golds out here, we're going to have to see how they feel going around the track, and see what kind of lines that they're taking, because that's going to be very interesting to watch. Yeah.
So what are we seeing right now? We see a
Daehee Yoon
149.305.
just set, yeah, the personal best for the session now, 49.3.
Yep.
A tenth over the next fastest driver. Very impressive. Daehee has been hoofing it in that Ferrari this season. He's been looking really good out there. As we said, that beautiful blue and white retro-inspired livery. And that goes to shout out all of our custom-made skins here at SRA. Very beautiful. Check them out while you're watching the stream. A lot of them are handmade. A lot of work has gone into them, into the teams and the liveries. So show some appreciation for those. But yeah, Daehee's been looking really good this season. Looking for a good performance out of him, especially with a time like that. We're going to have to see where the golds stack up against that, because I'm not sure they can do much better. But looking at him, he's getting a little squirrely on this lap. Looks like he's invalidated. But you can't blame him. I don't know if there's
a high bar to clear. I know our Gold Division drivers can crank out some 48s, but not all of them.
Yeah, and that always just depends on the session too. I mean, they may be able to get 48s in another session, but the weird thing about ACC is that you can't set it to the same weather twice.
Right.
Every single time that you get in, it'll be a different weather pattern. So you have to be able to practice and have the correct setup for every single weather condition, which really, separates the boys from the men.
Oh, yeah.
Because those who put in the extra time to get their setups correctly and their tire pressures correctly and all that stuff,
or
are
beg
going to be making
smarter
the big
people to
difference here.
provide it.
Yeah.
That's right.
And that's why you join one of the conglomerates here at SRA. So that's one of the benefits. We are a very noob-friendly league. If you are new to sim racing or ACC in general, and you say, "Man, I don't know what the heck is going on," when I joined in here, I said, "Oh, I'm pretty good. I can go in here," and then instantly I was like the slowest driver in there. It was traumatizing. But there's a lot of people in here with a lot of knowledge, and joining into one of the conglomerates where these folks are more than happy to help out because they want to get some wins for their team if you're on it. So
will Ivan McCroat help out?
Setups and whatnot.
Because he just set the new session best.
McCroat, that is not a driver that I'm very familiar with.
Me neither. Must be a newcomer. Welcome. Keep it up.
Yeah, and it does show that he is an unlisted driver. So when you're looking at the table on the left there, it is a new table as well. But the drivers highlighted in red are unlisted drivers as far as their division goes. They go out with the silver division, but we don't quite know yet where those stack up in comparison to the golds and silvers, so we put them in a league of their own. And it looks like McCroat might be showing his teeth as one of the gold capable drivers. So we're going to have to see how his season progresses if he participates in any more races. That is a very impressive time, setting it half a tenth over, or rather half a hundredth over what Daehee did just a couple moments ago. We are now wrapping up the final laps of qualifying for the silver drivers. Only 45 seconds left, and as per usual, as long as they cross the the line at the 15-minute mark, they can finish the rest of that lap out. So these drivers are going to be getting their last laps in and clawing for those last couple hundredths, seeing where they can position themselves. Looking at Daehee here, who's going up and down. He went up 100th, went down 100th. So see if he can improve. I'm sure he's going to be gunning for that top silver spot. But yeah.
Not many improving right now. I think this might be just how the cookie crumbles for silver.
Yeah, everyone seems to be either down on their time or up on it by thousands or hundreds.
And not much.
Barely moving them, if at all. So,
and Dylan Stallworth is awash on his final attempt, and we follow him back to the pits, where now our Gold Division drivers are all queuing up. They're chomping at the bit to get out of here.
Eric Boardman is one of the last silver drivers improving here. He has a 10th and a half, going up to 2/10 in the first sector of the track here, going into the second sector with 2/10 up. Looking really good out here in his Mercedes-Benz. Mercedes has been performing very well this season. Not a particular car that I'm fond of, but a lot of people have been making it work for them. It's been showing, very impressive. It's not one of the cars always talked about being OP around here, but it definitely comes into its own. And unfortunately, Boardman loses his advantage.
Oh, gone.
Hopefully he can gain it back and
Nope.
boom, off the track. And that's his last lap. He's going to take it on back to pits. So there's only two other silver drivers out right now, and they're both pretty far down on their time. So we're going to be taking a look at the gold drivers and see what they can do.
Shout out to the E-Seniors. I believe that's another racing league. I think Boardman had that going. I love the shout out on the wingman. That was pretty cool. But yeah, on the note of the Mercedes, I don't know what it is. It's tough to wrap your head around. For those who don't really play this and are just tuning in or play super often, the cars drive drastically different in terms of where the engine's at the front, the rear or the middle of the car.
Oh yeah.
The Mercedes is one of few that has, the engine planted spot in the front, and it's a vastly different feeling from a lot of the other cars in the game. So kudos to the guys driving that car. It's a bit of a tricky one to wrap your head around, but they put some really great times in.
Speaking of OP cars, we have our Hondas coming out now. We're taking in the picture-in-picture, taking a look at Tyler James, who is about to come around to start his first lap, rather. Tyler James and Doug have been trading spots this season. One will be out, and then the other will be out, and then one will be out, back and forth. I don't think they've had a race together all season.
Is that so?
Yeah, as far as I remember, I know that Doug, our beloved admin and community manager here, is out this season this race on a work trip. So hello to Doug, if you're watching. And speaking of people watching, maybe Justin, if you could pull up the stream and see if we have any fans making some comments in the Twitch chat, see what the folks are saying about these qualifying times, and if they have any people that they're rooting for to get a good time, that would be wonderful.
I'm watching the chat. We got Faisley chatting a lot. Sounds like
Faisley.
it looked Fosley, my mistake. It looks like he had hello commentators. Thank you very much. Looked like he had an issue with pedals. I believe I read that he had his pedals broke, which is literally heartbreaking.
Oh,
that very much sucks. But otherwise, Colin said good luck, so that's pretty awesome. But as per always, if anyone's watching and wants us to focus on one particular driver or give a shout out, feel free, and we'll do our best to accommodate that.
Felipe Vicini, first one out of the gates for gold, setting his first his banker lap. And wait, nothing? No, this was their out lap, excuse me. So now they're starting their hot laps, right?
I believe so.
Okay.
So speaking of shout-outs, I wanted to give a quick shout-out to all the people who support SRA. It has been very awesome to see the league grow, and these people have helped us out immensely with their financial contribution, allowing us to have fun things like our new program, and allowing us to have all these cool hot lap servers that anyone can join. Even if you're not a member of SRA, I believe you can join any of the hot laps and see where you stack up. And if you want to see yourself on the leaderboards to see how you stack up against some SRA legends, just go to simracingalliance.com. So these supporters are Daniel Gutierrez, Philip Menzies, Michael Jeffries, DeWall Banderi, Hoa Dromo, Nate Allen, and Justin Rowley. That's our SRA sponsors. And
thanks, Justin.
Our title sponsors is Roby Todi, Daehee Yun, Joshua Arnold, Evan Kim, myself, Paulie Hartman, Thomas Greer, Dominic Duran, Zach Sky, Tyler James ×4.
Times
Jacob
4?
Wolfman. Yeah, wow. ×4. That guy's he's a madman. He's also the owner of the server. But Jacob Wolfman, our resident party fanatic, Fazli Majid, Kyle McGinnis, Ramon Lorenzo, and Stephanie Fisher.
Thanks for all the support.
Thank you guys so much for supporting the league. It's fantastic to see all the people who are willing to chip in and make this happen. So thank you guys so much. And if you're interested in having a a shout out on the stream or a hot lap server to call your own and pick what track that the server is on, go into our server and go to the donations tab, and where you can see all your perks and benefits, and get yourself on that leaderboard.
Yeah, and I think one of the things we've been chatting about, and I think we've plugged it a fair bit, but I just want to do it one more time before we hop into the actual races. If you're watching this and you play ACC, I'd say just join the Discord. The community's fantastic. The racing is top tier. The admins do their best to make sure that everything's fair. We have a pretty fantastic team of stewards who are making sure that everything's no
Good and
one's getting,
kosher.
good and kosher. Very good way to put it. But yeah, I highly suggest y'all hopping in the Discord. Come say hi. Great group of people, and we'll make sure that by the time you leave, you're much faster. So highly suggest it.
And even if you're brand spanking new to ACC, I know when I joined, I literally had 0 hours in ACC.
Did you really?
Yeah, hadn't even launched the game before I joined into SRA, and I knew nothing about the game. But there's a lot of kind folks in here that will help you get faster, and we even have coaching sessions for the upcoming tracks in our GT3 series that are hosted on either Thursday or Friday nights by one of our resident aliens. So if you want to get some of the tips and tricks to see how these folks are so fast on this track, and you're like, man, how in the world are these people so fast? Be sure to join into our coaching sessions, to where you can even have the potential to get a one-on-one coaching session with some of these drivers. So it's a fantastic opportunity. There's no signups necessary for that, and it's a great time. You get to meet some of the folks around here and have a general good time. And if you have a good time with that, be sure to, and you're a little bit nervous about joining our main GT3 series, we have a lot of fun exhibition events where we run fun races throughout the week. We also have our multi-class Mayhem series where we run the GT4 and GT3 cars. And obviously there is our GT3 team series, which we'd be delighted if you joined. We have 4 divisions representing all different paces of drivers, D1, 2, 3, and 4. So even if you're new to the game, or you don't have a lot of time to practice and you're not that fast, there's a division for you. So be sure to join up, and it's a wonderful time.
I have got to edge in something that's time sensitive right now. Evan McCroat and Michael Menning have the exact same time, down to the thousandth. And Michael Menning is improving right now, so he's poised right now to snag P1.
So to answer your question in the chat, that's how they have identical times to the thousandth of a second.
Don't see that every day. I think we see that. Well, we've seen it a couple times now, but not for P1.
That's crazy.
Very close indeed. And Michael Menning is improving on his lap, so we're going to see that record trumped in a little bit. Only 6 minutes left in the qualifying, and surprisingly, we still have mostly silvers in the top 10.
Damn.
But I can tell you, as this qualifying session comes to the 5-minute mark, a lot of these drivers have gotten into their pace now, and they're going to start really gunning after it and getting those lap times in that they've been looking for. I know personally I cannot get a good lap time until the 5-minute mark sets. I don't know what it is about it. I will set terrible lap after terrible lap, and then like my last 2 laps just wind up just being my hero laps where I break a record.
Well, Fimbers Casas is ahead of schedule, because last lap he gained 2 positions, and now he gained 5 more, putting him up to P5. It's a great lap from him.
And it looks like Michael Menning has put in a 49.115, trumping the time of McCroat. And so is Dom Duran with a 149.135, and Brooker Quigg in the Porsche has also set a 149.165. So no longer do we have identical times on the board here, but these times are creeping up, or rather creeping down and creeping down. So like I said, these last couple minutes are going to be where the crunch time for these drivers. This is where we're going to see the time shave off. Tyler James down to 10th on his time and losing it and gaining it back and forth. I'm going to see if he can work himself up into the top 5. I'm sure he'd be very, very happy with that. He actually does have an identical time to Chris Steffiak, a 149.145 between the two.
Neltac, in terms of your question in the chat, any way to see the lap time deltas? I believe we are limited in terms of what we can display on the banner on the left to 2 values, one of which
Is this
actually
what you wanted? That
Oh.
doesn't look right. That's personal best delta. Session best relative. That's probably what you want. And here's the delta.
We're giving you everything, all right? So if we haven't provided at this point, I'm sorry.
Yep, I just threw the kitchen sink at you.
That's right.
It looks like Tyler James lost his time advantage in the last couple corners there. Very unfortunate for him. But there's still 3 minutes and 33 seconds left of this qualifying session, so there's more time for him to gain it back. And speaking of gaining time, we have Grant cleansing. 1.5 tenths up on his time. Grant is one of those drivers that can put it up in the top 5 every single race, so I'm very confident that we're going to see a very good time out of him. But he's definitely got a long way to go.
James
And
Riley's
losing
up
that time
half a
advantage
second.
again. Oh my goodness.
That
yeah,
would put him up
James-
massively. Huge. Girthy lap time. Do it.
Look, we're talking
6
about...
tenths. No, don't you?
Wait.
No AI cam. Don't you go away from me. James Riley, right here. This is where we're at.
You should have been talking about more wet and girthy when Evan Kim was on the track. Because he could have used that encouragement. Our resident Bentley
Bringing it
boys.
home. James Riley, 7 tenths up. He's finding even more. 7.5. Can he find 8? Oh, he can. He's doing it. 9 tenths. Do it.
Where's he gonna land?
From P20 all the way up to P2. What a
P2.
lap from
Wow.
James
Good
Riley.
lap.
Fantastic lap. He's
Oh,
probably-
mama.
He's
Probably
smiling.
thinking about hanging it up right now.
He's
But
smiling.
no, he's actually up on his delta yet again. Another 10th up on his delta. This would be
God.
insane to see. But speaking about up on the delta, Fimbres Casas 4 tenths up on their delta. Going through the 3rd sector now, I believe.
That's
Or
something.
Rather this, yeah, the 3rd sector.
That would be
And
enough for
Brooker
him to
Quigg.
take pole back for himself.
Brooker Quigg 5 tenths up on his time from P4. So he's looking.
Oh, he's
at
on track for
getting
the
our first
best.
48. Yes. This would be fantastic if we could see this. We were debating
Going purple.
before the race if we would see a 48. So this would be wonderful to see. Dom Duran going up and down on his time.
And he's
trying
got
to
it. By 4 tenths, he's got P1 pole.
Fantastic time. If it were me, I would just hang it up. That's a god lap right there.
Oh, yeah.
He just went back to pits. He says, "I'm done."
That's it. Retirement
Nowhere
is
else
up.
to go.
Yep. Fimbres Casas puts himself in P2 with a 148.872. Wow. So we got 2 48s here. Dom Duran now up a 10.5 on his time into the 2nd sector, and he loses it.
Oh, unlucky.
But he might still be able to make something happen. I'm sure he'd be happy getting into the 48s. He has the potential to still do it. As he goes back up 3 tenths up on his time. Oh, because he dove into the corner a little bit there.
Tyler James is finding 4 tenths. You can maintain that. That'll be huge, too.
Michael Menning 3 tenths up on his time. That would also put him in the 48s.
Jason Kinger as well. Right before the end here, we see people doing work.
Oh, and James is going to lose it. A little too much. That leaves Michael Menning, last man right now, who stands to improve greatly. Almost 4 tenths up, going into Sector 3. Last 2 corners. Heidi. And this is going to do it. I don't know if it's purple, but it's good.
It's very
good for
close, and it puts
P2.
him into P2, yes.
Off by 8 hundredths of a second.
These guys are putting in work at the end here.
Boys are
Fantastic.
fast.
Nordstrom up 2 tenths up on his time. Coming out of the 1st sector. This track is very treacherous right now. One little mistake and you lose all that time. As we saw here, Nordstrom just caught a blade of grass or two and slid out a little bit in that corner and lost all that time advantage that he had. Now he's a 10th down. So in order to get that 48, you have to be just pixel perfect with your speed and timing of your turns, and it's very difficult. It is very hard to explain if you're not a sim racer how difficult it is to get these times. I mean, these boys out here just really they make it look easy.
Coming in for the last lap of the session.
Travis Nordstrom not finding any improvement yet.
Unless he can make it all through the last corner, can he do it?
He's finding it.
Ooh, maybe a little
Maybe.
bit.
Oh, he had it for a
slid
moment.
tires just a little bit.
There we go.
No.
No.
And that'll do it.
That's unfortunate, but still a fantastic time, and fantastic time from everyone here. We have 3 drivers in the 48s. Brooker Quigg and Michael Menning have put it up above everyone else, sitting with a 148.6, and it's going to be a very tight battle here for first place and beyond. I think all these drivers have a chance at getting the top spot. Everyone within the top 5, I believe, is just fantastically fast. So race pace and quality pace are 2 different things. So we're gonna have to see from Brooker Quigg. We know that Porsche is, you know, a very hairy car. It's not easy to handle, as Jess can probably attest to.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna see if he can keep that consistency up. Same with Fimbres Casas, but Fimbres Casas, he's just he's an absolute machine out on the track. So
In terms of the strategy as well, for those
Oh my
unfamiliar,
gosh.
I mean,
AI, sorry.
the car,
My camera
the car
keeps getting
drives a
yoinked.
little bit funny. You know, it drives differently. You know, when you put in qualifying and you have a tiny bit of fuel in there, it's a bit more squirrely, but it's a bit quicker. And then, but now the second you drop into the race, you got tons and tons of fuel in that car, a lot slower, a bit more stable, but sometimes a little bit less stable. It kind of depends on your actual setup. So, you know, these first few laps will be interesting, especially in the rain. Fingers crossed everyone's respectful and everyone's given space, because, you know, sometimes the rain can lead to some accidents, but, you know, hoping for the best here.
Going around the track here and taking a look at some of these wonderful liveries.
Is it raining? Colin just pointed out that it might not.
Oh no, it's not raining.
Not yet.
So, not yet. I can't see the weather information on my screen right now.
Jump into a
But
car maybe, and then see if it's on the windshield.
well, I'll have to turn my HUD back on. Let's
Me
see
too.
for a second here.
I don't see anything in the HUD.
Basic. It says at 30 minutes it's gonna rain.
Oh,
So-
what a
It does look damp.
curveball. Oh, our drivers are
This-
sweating now.
A curveball.
Yep,
Everyone's
this throws.
frantically changing their setup right now.
Well, a lot of these people are going to be juggling between, you know, pit stop strategies and their setup. Are they going to run a quicker setup that's meant for the drive for the first half of the race and gamble that it's not going to rain until they're pit, and try to pit right away so they can get the best strategy and get the most speed out of the track? Or are they just going to stay with the wet setup and play it safe? But even if you stay with a wet setup and try to keep it safe, you could burn up those tires really
Real
easily and
quick.
lose all the advantage that you have.
Absolutely.
So these drivers are sweating bullets right now. It's almost a crapshoot as to whether their setup is going to work correctly.
Promotion
So-
lap started up. I don't see any spit. Oh, there's a little bit of spit off the back of their car, so the track is definitely a little bit damp.
Yeah, it's damp.
We will see that line. We will see that line, you know, kind of create a dry line pretty quickly. So like Paulie said, I wonder, you know, in terms of the, you know, tire wear, it'll be interesting to see, you know, how brutal it is on the drivers, especially if they're getting really, really hot.
That's a good
It'll
point. A
definitely
line
be
is going to form, so that's going to mean that maybe people who go on the dries or intermediates, I don't even know if this game has intermediates, would be rewarded, but people who stay on wets might still work out for them if they take some weird lines and stay off the dry patch.
Yeah, exactly. But then, you know, it forces you on those weird lines, which are not often the fastest lines. So it's these,
Yeah, they're
you know, this
diving.
is
They're
this
not.
is the moment.
They're dancing on a knife's edge, aren't they?
Exactly. So, you know, as a spectator, you know, I don't think you could ask for a better setup for a race to set it up for an interesting race, because you know, all the little pieces are in place here to make it a pretty interesting battle here. So it'll be interesting to watch the lines, you know, the strategies. Uh, yeah, I think we're in for a treat
Yeah,
tonight.
who knows what's gonna happen?
Cars lining up in their formation.
We have any predictions in chat? Any Nostradamuses? Nostradami?
I will say, Colin said, I bet the track is dry for the race. So I got to give him a shout out for that, because that was pretty incredible.
That was.
I thought,
I bet that
there's
was
no
just
reason to
more
do that.
pessimism than clairvoyance.
Well, I mean, we saw at Hungary last season at the Hungaroring, we had wet practice sessions, and then we went into the practice race, and it was dry for almost everyone. And we said, nah, there's no way it's gonna happen
There's
again.
no
That it's gonna
way.
be dry. It's like
No
a
way.
1% chance. And then race day for almost every single division, sans like one, it was a bone dry race. Anyone who didn't have a setup ready was just absolutely screwed. So, myself included. So I've learned my lesson from that race, and now I have for every wet race a wet and dry setup that I can switch between, and I know that all these pros have done the same.
Yep.
That is definitely what sets the pros apart from a lot of the lower divisions, is that they, for situations like these, as they go double file. But yeah, if you guys thought this was going to be an interesting, excuse me, if you guys thought this was going to be an interesting race before, well, now it's a brawl. Now,
Yeah.
this is going to be very interesting. So, stay tuned. Don't switch that channel. As we're lining up here, coming to the line.
Any second now.
And it's off and away for SRA, coming through the first lap here. Now we're going to see what setup people chose. This will be very interesting. Jess, you should cover the front. I'm going to try to get the midfield and the back here. A lot of drivers swapping around here, all up and down the board, jockeying for their first couple positions here. The midfield is
great.
Yeah, no contact yet.
A little contact, but everybody does survive. Vicini and Nordstrom make contact. Now, way more now. Nick San, Andrew Anderson.
Jeffries, Allen, Diaz, Anderson, Moses, Brooks.
They're all alive, though. Just a little rubbing.
Yep, rubbing is racing, but not when it puts you on the very back of the pack on lap one.
Dae-Yoon edges out Tyler James for P8.
And Watts and Nordstrom get in front of Dilliard, as there's another big wreck going on here. Dae-Yoon, Stefiak, James, everyone spinning around. Watts, there's a big pack in the field. This is a disaster. Oh no. Let's see if I can get a little replay here. I'm not sure what happened. I just caught the tail end of it with the replay. It's just a big bump and run over here.
Ooh, murder.
Very unfortunate. Yep, everyone on mixed setups. Tyler James straight to the pits. Watts straight to the pits.
Oh no. Tyler Watts.
No. Come on. Get back out there, buddy.
Unlucky right off the bat.
Oh.
Dae-Yoon dropping 22 positions. We've had some substantial gains as well. Josh Damiani with 14 gains. Tyler Carter with 12. Chris Stefiak, 19 positions lost. We've definitely had some unlucky brawls here right off the bat.
Very unfortunate for Tyler James and Watts. I know Tyler's been looking for a win here this season. Last season was definitely not his season, and this is not a good way to come back from a trip.
It really is.
Yeah, hopefully.
You can actually already see the dry line though. Right, there's almost no spray off the back of the cars already.
Am I seeing this right? Do we already have like a 30-second gap between two major trains?
Well, with
Right.
half the field spinning out in the middle and the back, I would not be
Yeah.
surprised. Gap's very close in the midfield. Everyone 0.2 of a second off, following very close. I wonder how the spray is looking from the interior. Not much spray. Not much spray. So that dry line is definitely developing. Anyone who had a wet setup is now wishing that they took a dry setup. Well, I guess we'll see once the rain commences.
Yeah, I think I would have
And if
gambled it. I would have taken dries.
Yeah, I probably would have as well.
It didn't look like any more rain was falling. It was just already there. So Matthew Schwartz and Patrick Rust fighting, while Michael Menning takes a little off-track excursion and loses about 4 positions.
Boring track.
Kinger gets ahead, but then touches the grass and loses 4 positions. Dilliard gets ahead of Nordstrom.
We have a 4-way fight for P7 now.
Yeah.
This is absolute insanity, guys. Wow. What a start to the race.
You have to wonder, you know, how many people started on the wets and how their tires are doing now.
I bet you by this point they're already starting to burn up, as we have Evan Kim and Taylor Carter both dropping down. Looks like they got in a little bit of a wreck here at the end. I was about to be saying that Evan Kim would be clicking his heels after all the lap 1 wrecks, but it appears not.
Ricker Quigg and Diego Paul Fembriscos is trading spots again, P1 and P2. And again, fight continues.
Wow.
And speaking of the devil himself, we have the man, the myth, and the legend, Tyler James, up in the booth with us. What's up, Tyler?
Well, boys, I figured if I can't race tonight, if I got crashed out on lap 1, I might as well join you guys in the booth. And
Hell yeah. Welcome to the booth. Let me dial you up a bit.
Why don't you give us a bit of an analysis of what it was like to be in that?
Well, so the track started out in damp conditions when we're sitting on the pit lane. And so everybody's debating, with rain showing at 30 minutes, everyone's debating, okay, do we go to a wet weather setup, a dry weather setup? Do we start on wet tires, dry tires? Now everybody's strategy kind of comes into play. You've only got a short amount of time on the pit lane to do it. So I went with dry tires. I think that was the right call because I think everybody else around me also went with dry tires. They were highly underinflated. And the track went greasy before we finished the formation lap. So it was already getting grip. And with that many cars on the track, I was figuring it would be a green track in no time. And with rain showing in 30 minutes, I was like, all right, I'll pit, change tires for wet tires,
right,
and drive my wet setup with dry tires on, so that way I could be in a stable condition at the end of the race. My wet and dry setup are almost the same. And Dehi looks like he just kind of on the exit got his dry tires on that slick curb, and he lost it and ran right into me, and it's unfortunate. Entered my race.
Very unfortunate. And we were just talking about before how you may have not had a very good season last season, and you've had a couple of mishaps at the beginning of this season, and you were looking for a win here in one way or another, whether that be a good finish or, you know, a top 10 or something. But looks like that's not going to happen.
You had to talk about me and say I was doing well this season, because I've been feeling good about my pace,
curse.
about my racing. You know, everything had felt good up and, you know, and you know, I had kept control of the car. I was on the inside. I was, you know, it's not gonna bend over, and I was gonna, you know, race Dehi, and I think, you know, it's just drive error. It was nothing Dehi did on purpose whatsoever.
You know, if we were going to curse someone here, it better be the server runner. So.
And my
Thanks,
my screen is lighting up like a Christmas tree.
Screen, yep.
Everybody all at once is having contact. What just happened?
It
doesn't
looks
look like anybody
Stallworth
died,
went off the track
but,
and came back on, unfortunately. It was still tight battles all the way up and down the grid. Grant Cleansing and newcomer McCroat are in a tight battle side by side here, going into the third sector.
Top time so far is a 1:46 put down by their first place, Fembriscos.
So you can really see the separation between what you can put down in the wet and what you can put down in even a greasy track. Quite a big difference here. And this is that race conditions, full fuel, with drivers darting around you like crazy. Billiard and Cleansing still going at it.
To answer the question in chat, Tricky Cow, is there a way to tell who's gold and who is silver in the standings? There is, but I don't see it appearing right now.
Not in this UI because the server does it automatically and assigns a driver license back number color, but it's not. I don't think the Tower UI or anything from ACC TV cares about any of that.
So I can give you your current top 3 in the silver class is Mr. Matthew Schwartz, who's actually P5 overall, Mr. Jay Dilliard, who's P10 overall, and Mr. I. McCroat, who is a new driver with us. And it looks like, yep, that's your top 3 of the silver division right now.
Yeah, we were very, very surprised looking at the qualifying sessions to see that McCroat came in here and
blew the
put a
doors
gap
off
on all the
everybody.
silvers and was very, very competitive with the golds. It looks like you guys in the stewarding booth are going to have to take a look at him, make sure he's placed correctly, because it looks like he might be a gold contender.
Yeah, so I think it's a good chance to talk about how we qualify or how we classify drivers. And so when you're new, you get the default silver classification until you've had a couple of races to prove your worth, prove your racecraft and your skill. And so if they're new, they start out in silver for 3 races, and if they show the pace and the racecraft to move their way up to gold, we then give them that gold classification after their 3rd race. But once their 3rd race hits, we look at their SRA rating, SR rating, I should say, and if they're in outside the top 20, they stay in that silver classification. And speaking of qualifying, wet weather qualifying is weird because the track can progress, but it can also regress. You know, it can get more wet if the weather rains heavier later on. And so the silver actually had a pretty good qualifying session where the track was getting lighter, and it rained pretty hard right before gold went out. So they had a great
our new king and leader, Mr. McCroat, in the pits now. Has sunk back to P32 now. I think his race might be over. Or potentially over, with a nightmare pit like that. Sorry, man.
Unlucky for Mr. McCroat.
Well, from behind the booth, I had a little visitor trying to tune in on the stream, a little bit of a illegal streaming going on. I saw a mouse trying to take a look at my stream, so I'm gonna have to deal with him after the race. My goodness, scared the crap out of me.
I was wondering where you went there.
Yeah. Trying to find him, he disappeared again. I don't have to set some traps and give a stern talking to him.
Charge him rent.
Yeah, charge him rent, yeah.
So boys, the track is actually now fast.
Okay.
It's progressed. So these guys are going to start setting faster and faster laps.
It'll definitely be interesting to see when that rain does come, exactly how it's going to impact these guys.
It says within 30 minutes, so and it says it's going to be a medium rain. It's not even like it's a light rain.
Okay.
So I'm really hoping it goes right after the pit window, and it goes heavy. I want to see these guys have to make a call inside the pit window of, okay, do I go to wet tires? Do I stay on dry tires? And I want to see the strategy get switched up, and then have it rain in the second half of the race, and see who made the right call.
I mean, at the end of the day, too, the interesting thing about races like this is it's not only the driving that comes into play, as we mentioned, it's the strategy, right? So you could drive an amazing race and just have an absolutely atrocious strategy and just place pretty poorly. So these are the kind of races that really push people to the edge, and you really see the top of the top here. Yep,
everything matters.
So what Tyler just said is, if I'm going to be out of this race, I want everyone else to suffer.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
No, I was expecting that to begin with, and I was like, you know what? This is going to be a fun, strategic race, which, we don't have too many of those in SRA, but, we'll see.
It's funny, I actually saw in the chat earlier, someone suggested we have the full random weather on for each race. I think that would be pure chaos. Definitely don't suggest that, but,
That would be horrible.
Yeah.
Ooh, Nick Fan and Andrew Anderson having a great fight right now. Andrew nearly losing it and washing out in a nick, but keeping it together. The fight continues.
We got a great little pack going on between Menning, Duran, Quigg, Stallworth, and Rust. all within about half a tenth of each other. So we're gonna have to see how this one plays out. This is where I'm gonna be sticking for the time being in the picture-in-picture. We got two teammates too, Rust and Quig. See if there's any team plays going on.
Andrew
Looks like
Anderson
left
does
hit
eventually win
now.
out over Nick.
Just more random.
Checking the comments on the stream.
All feedback better be positive.
No, there's no real feedback. Just everybody chatting it up. So if you're in the comments right now, I don't know, make a call. Do you think it's gonna rain during the pit window or after the pit window?
It'll be interesting. We have one person who said it's going to flood, so that's definitely an interesting one.
So if I remember correctly, at Hungary last season, it said it was going to rain, and then it never rained.
Oh my god.
So
Simulates real life.
yeah, I
maybe
wonder if we're
getting
going to see
reality.
something like that. That would really be an interesting situation.
Fun fact about this track, I actually had watched not too long ago a YouTube video where Eris kind of goes through, I think it's one of his TLDR series or whatever, but he was actually showing off how in this track, when it rains, they actually modeled water flowing through sort of the escape channels on the other side of the track. So they actually went to the extent of modeling water on parts of the track you can't see unless you take the camera outside of track limits. So it kind of goes to show how much love and effort they put into this game. So I thought
That's
that was
wild.
kind of an interesting piece. Yeah.
Looks like Stallworth overtakes Menning.
Yeah,
He
put
does.
quite a move down his inside, right before the cheetah curb, that corner before. I'm wondering where did Minion qualify? Do you guys remember?
I don't.
It was up there. I believe it was like
P2.
P4, P2.
It's
Possibly.
looking like he's on wet tires because he just doesn't have the grip. Yeah, he does not have the grip.
Very interesting to see. I bet you he's probably kicking himself a little bit right now. His tires are probably on fire.
Yeah, probably waiting for that little sign at the top saying pit window in. He's probably dying for that little icon there.
And Patrick Rust and Eric Boardman are almost side by side here as Boardman gets the position. Rust still looking left, right, see if he can get it back and join his teammate again.
In terms of the position gains, taking a look at that, 8, Dylan Stallworth, 19 positions, absolutely crushing it.
Nuts.
Eric Boardman, 24 positions in 13th place, unreal.
The Porsches here in the dry are the fastest car. They really favor, the BOP here is really favoring them. And so it's not a surprise to see the two Porsches up top, and now that the weather's dry, seeing the Porsches make their way through the pack.
Yep. Very strong.
This mouse is still trying to get a glimpse of the stream.
No, I complain a lot about the Porsche trying to kill me, and you'd think it'd be terrible on a wet track, but in all my practice, I think I spun out like once. It's hairy, but the Porsche is quite good around here.
Yeah, it's a great car. Man, they are battling.
Yeah, they are.
So you got a battle there, and then up front, the two leaders. I mean,
They've been fighting the whole time.
they're within half a second of each other. And,
Wait a minute.
Durant's.
Where'd Quig go?
Oh, Quig's down in 12th.
What happened
I don't know
here?
what happened
That's not right.
to- Quig is battling, the drivers that you were just showing on the.
Yeah, I
on the
thought
stream.
Quig was fighting Diego earlier. Well, that's unfortunate for him. But that makes for a new fight between Diego and Danny for P1.
So Coolin in the chat thinks it's going to rain after the pit window.
That's Colin
Moaning-
Shea.
Moaning and Duran, they think, has started on wet tires, which, looking at Duran's onboards, he's struggling. And Duran is quick around here, so I think he did go with wet tires.
One of the ultimate risky moves would be to take dry tires after the pit and just, you know, fingers crossed for no rain. Because if people are expecting rain and they all slap on the wet tires, you're one of the few people in the dry who made this insane call.
Well, we just got a weather update, and so I don't think anybody's going to be taking
How's it looking?
dry tires. Yeah, I just spoke to the meteorologist, and he's saying in about 10 minutes we're going to get light rain, and 30 minutes we're going to get heavy rain. So 10 minutes would put this at, what, the 32-minute mark?
Yeah,
so right
time
in
to
the middle
pit.
of the pit window. Yeah.
Interesting.
So now we're going to see if Quig and Duran save... they'll get that 30 seconds back from not changing their tires. Are they 30 seconds off the lead right now?
Let me see. Quig is about 45 seconds behind.
So this was the wrong call by starting on wet tires then.
Well, I don't know if it was because the tires were an accident, because he was P1, and then it was all of a sudden, so he might have run off. But for anybody who hasn't been paying attention to the fastest lap times, James Riley, this whole time while P1 and P2 are fighting, he's been slowly reeling them in. He's been outlapping the best by almost a second, so it's a matter of 4 or 5 laps before he is knocking on P1's door.
Now Rust and Quig, the teammates, are side by side. Looks like maybe a little bit of team cooperation here. Rust gets ahead as Andrew Anderson gaps both of them with a couple cheeky flashes thrown in there for good measure.
Yep, one of our resident fast boys in the chat called out that if they are on wets right now, they will destroy them by the time the track gets some water. And so they will not have the pace as those fresh wets that the dry runners will put on when they go into the pits.
Funny, I actually love the chat going on. Jose's mentioning, you know, he'd rather be on hot tires than dries in full wets, which is true. I mean, that's a fair play, but you know, very context specific. So, you know, I agree. I think we'll see most people switch into the wets, you know, at the 30-minute mark. I think it'll be very clear who forgets to change their dries, or maybe who accidentally set them to dries in the pit, or doesn't change and they had dries on. It'll be very, very evident who goes back to the pits or who's sliding all over the track when it actually does start raining. So, like I said before this race even started, it's going to be a good one, and it has been. The strategies come into play here. The racing comes into play. There's a lot kind of on display here, and it'll definitely be interesting to see how this race finishes.
While you were talking, Michael Jeffries got around Patrick Quig first, and then moments later he gets around his teammate Patrick Rust. He's on an absolute charge right now, and now he gets around Dominic Duran.
Ooh.
So he's just, in the matter of like 30 seconds, he just cleared that train, and now he's reeling in Andrew Anderson.
That's on fire.
Gardner is also on an absolute tear, overtaking 2 people, Carter and Allen. And now charging forward, has his sights set on Evan Kim for 29th position.
Well, boys, I'm going to leave you all in the booth. It was fun dropping in. It would have been more fun to race.
Yeah.
Glad I got to talk to you boys.
Thanks
Everyone
for
on
joining
Twitch,
us.
thank you for watching and commenting. And if you like, throw a sub. If not, at least throw a follow so you can get notifications when we go live. And hopefully to see you guys join the league soon.
And thank you so much, Tyler, for joining in with us. It was awesome to see a driver's perspective on that lap 1 scuffle that we had. And hopefully we don't see you in the booth again during one of the races. So get back out there and keep practicing so we don't see another one of these instances here.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, it wasn't my fault. I practiced.
No. Oh.
See you, boys.
See ya.
Good stuff.
See ya.
Well, like I was saying, James Riley again and again and again has now set purple laps, and he is now caught up to the podium fight, so P1's within spitting distance.
Gardner.
Rain?
Yes,
I
it is
see a
coming
little
down
couple
now.
Drops of rain, yes.
I see rain.
Oh, and he sends it up the inside, makes the corner, covers off Durant. Easy P2.
Gardner is still on a tear. He overtakes Evan Kim and Dae-Hee Yun, now sitting in 28th position, right on the heels of Dromo. Only a 10th off, and he's looking to overtake him in the next corners. They're now side by side. It's been very interesting watching Gardner here in the picture-in-picture go through the field like this. Now in 27th position.
Wet a little bit now with the rain coming down. You know, they only have a little bit left to the actual pit, but you know, these last few laps with the slicks on the track that is now officially greasy, you know, it's a little bit dangerous out there. And as Tyler mentioned, I've actually just had word from the meteorologist as well. So it looks like right now we have light rain. In 10 minutes, we're supposed to have heavy rain. And in 30 minutes, so it gives us 6 minutes left total, we're having very heavy rain. So we'll definitely see quite a bit of water come down in the track.
This mouse is still darting around. I'm trying to catch him.
Oh my God!
It's completely thrown me off guard.
John Dilliard throwing Grant Cleansing off guard, throwing it up the inside. Grant Cleansing takes it right back. Switcheroo.
Still tearing up the field. Now in 25th position. This has got to be one of the most intense tears I've seen. Putting the gap on a lot of the D1 Gold drivers out there. If I'm not mistaken, Gardner was one of the people who was in D2 last season, so a fantastic performance from him.
John Dilliard putting the pressure. Absolutely landed on Grant. Switch to Wagner, he's getting flashed.
Allworth with the yellow flag, not sure why. Still on the track.
Oh.
Taking a look at your leader here in the picture-in-picture, passing a driver who is chilling off the track there, taking a break, I guess. Fimbres Casas in that beautiful blue number 95 Porsche with Jay Riley less than a second behind. 8/10, 9/10, going back and forth.
I've noticed that I believe the pit window opens in 20 seconds, if I'm correct.
Very soon. And just as a recap for some of the top 10 drivers changing, in the first lap, Dylan Stallworth gained 19 positions. Eric Boardman gained 27. Liam Brooks gained 23. And then from there, Michael Jeffries gained 21. Liam Brooks gained another, now it's not even possible, 22? Up for P15. Yeah, just massive shakeups up and down the field.
We have some people dropping in the pits already. We have Stallworth and Boardman. Michael Jeffries heading into the pits as well. So some of the early drivers jumping in, try to undercut some of these other drivers. Be interesting to see where they come out.
A lot of people headed in for the pits now, trying to get those wet tires on if they didn't have them before.
My super smart AI bionic enhancements are telling me that Eric Boardman might come out on top of this. Looks like he
look at Quig going
in the pit.
Here. My assumption is Quig is going to have to take tires again. And it looks like he's been in the pits for a long time, so seems to be reigning true.
It looks like a good pit time here is 32 or 33 seconds.
And Riley, our P2 driver, is heading into the pits along with P3 and 4 Durance and Vicini. They're taking the opportunity with the rain coming out, saying, I'm putting those wet tires on. Riley's going to see if he can overcut Fimbres Casas, who is still out there with the dry tires. So we're going to see how this plays out.
On predictions, is saying James Riley's going to come out on top of this.
I think so.
Everyone's taking the opportunity to pit right away to slap on those wet tires.
And that may be one of these situations where it's a little awkward coming into the pits, but so many drivers coming in at the same time. Chris Moses and Josh Damiani coming out at around the same time. Only a half a second gap between the two as they're battling it out. Josh Damiani is one of the drivers who seemed to come out pretty well from the beginning scuffle here.
It looks like Durant's might come out of this pit window with a P3. Oh, but Felipe Vicini's doing a good outlap. It'll be close.
Lensing, Stack, Anderson, and Brooks all in the pits right now, along with B. Anderson. Moses and Josh Damiani getting real close up on each other now. Moses begging to get by.
Track is officially damp now.
You're officially damp now.
Man, coming out here with the roasts.
Jeez, the heaters.
Chris Moses coming with the heater, sending it around the outside of Josh Damiani. Winning another position for the Creamsicle Mercedes.
Team McLaren going a little wide there, just exploring.
Little expedition. We're all about exploring over here.
Things out. In South Africa, might as well explore a little bit, travel. It's on the team's budget. Who cares?
Checking out the quality of the grass, making sure it's up to snuff.
Colin said in the chat, said he's got his poncho on. I love it. Virtual role play, good stuff. That's great. Wow, I've never seen that lightsaber on the top of the Mercedes. That is.
What the hell?
I've never seen. I did not know that was an option for like the LED.
I've never seen that before.
That's amazing.
How weird.
Looks like he came out pretty bad from the pits here in 22nd position, and there's still time left in the pit window, so he will move up a little bit, but he's with the middle back of the pack. We're going to have to see his race as he fights up through everyone and see if he can get a top 10 back. I know he's really going to be itching for it. Quig has had a great season so far, so he definitely is in the championship contention. Wonder what he'll make of this. As we have maybe that Travis Nordstrom off the track. No, that's Jay Kinger off the track, joining back in, throwing a little bit of a wrench into Parker Quig's plan here, slowing him up a little bit off the back bumper of Chris Moses.
Interestingly enough, there's a few drivers that haven't pitted, so it's Michael Menning, Patrick Rust, Koa Giromo, and Dominic Duran have not yet pitted. Must have been out on the wets and have a lot of faith in those bad boys.
I believe Patrick Rust must have also been in the wets with his teammate Quig. Quig decided to pit in early, but maybe he thought he preserved his tires well enough to make it work and see if he can get a little bit of time while the other drivers are shuffling it out in pits. As I said, it was a little awkward getting in there. So many drivers trying to take advantage of the early pit time. So we're going to see how this pans out with him. He's got Duran breathing up his neck here. Taking a look at this in the picture-in-picture. Duran 3/10 off as he's looking up the inside, seeing if he makes something work. Not down the straight. There appears to be a blue flag right behind them.
Chris
Duran
Crassus,
looking at the inside.
Yeah, I was going to say some supreme pressure here for the 1 and 2 drivers.
Ira Quig, I would take this opportunity with all this pressure right now. Don't make a mistake. Just go into the pits as Duran goes into the pits.
Is that everyone at this point? Let me see.
Rust, I believe, is still not gone to the pits as Duran spins around in the pits. Oh my goodness.
Uh-oh.
Unlucky. You can't park there.
Not a parking spot. No parking pass was given out for that spot this weekend, so we're going to see.
I think he found his spot.
From that. Yeah, he found a good spot. As a splash and dash for him. He's going to try to get back out on the track. Interesting strategy from Duran here. We're going to see where he ends out at the end of the race.
Well, excuse me in the chat saying he's done that. I think we've all done that. We've all suffered.
Yeah.
I think, you know.
It's an embarrassing moment, but it
really is.
But it happens as Dilliard and Rust are battling it out side by side here. Dilliard in the Audi.
Chris Moses in the center screen with that flapping hood. Unlucky with some contact.
A lot of the gaps have spread out now after the pit window. Good couple battles left on the track, such as this one with Bellinger and Kinger. Bellinger's been on the back bumper of Kinger since Kinger joined back into the track. As in front of them, we have Dromo. Looks like he was coming out of the pits as Kinger goes wide into the corner. And Bellinger takes position going up on the outside. Looks like he's going to keep the position as he has the inside for these next 2 turns here.
Lost the rear end there, stressing me out.
Looks like Wagner and Allen come together.
Oh.
Allen losing out 2 spots for it.
Kinger coming back out ahead. Kinger's losing the rear end. He's all
And
over the
Belanger
track.
getting the run again. No, not quite. Wanting the outside. Braking zone coming up too quick.
These two are at it.
Damiani is looking at these 2 battle and slide around like a shark in the water, waiting for his prey. Staying back a nice healthy distance. A little less than a second. Seeing if he can capitalize on any of these shenanigans up front.
Patrick Rust finally in the pits, which was the last driver to serve his mandatory pit stop.
So speaking of that pit strategy between the number 1 and number 2, Farmers Crosses has come out ahead, I believe, but Riley is only 4/10 off the back of Farmers Crosses. So this is going to be an intense battle here as these drivers try to navigate the wet. A lot of people are going to have different paces, different lines in the wet, especially with these 2 vastly different cars. Let's see how this pans out. The next driver behind these 2 is 3.1 seconds off, and that's Vicini. So they're under no pressure from behind, but these 2 are duking it out. They both missed their apex a little bit here.
And soon they're going to have a whole lot of blue flags to navigate.
Big time.
And you really can't blame them with the way the weather's been throwing a lot of people off here at this race. I'd probably be back there too.
I know, yeah, exactly. I would too. 100%.
As this blue flag is taking the respectful line, letting the leaders pass through and letting them continue their battle without any impedance.
Oh, and Quig gets spun around.
Oh no.
What happened here?
We have a question in the chat. There's a lot of the little 1 icons on the little tower or the display on the left there. That looks to be a bug in the platform. I can see.
Oh yeah, everybody should be cleared by now. So I'll just go ahead and remove that.
Yeah, still working through some of the kinks with this new program here, but overall I think it's looking really good. So tell us what you guys think, and I think it looks fantastic, that's for sure.
Oh yeah. And we're
They've
getting a lot
upgraded
more
over the
information.
ACC. Oh yeah. As long as we can get that pit stuff figured out, as Riley loses half a second here, sliding out through one of the turns.
Michael Menning got a train behind him. Those 2 team Porsches got their eye on the prize there.
Damn, Peter, you got the whole squad racing.
Oh, as the Ferrari goes wide, unless it's
Dominic Duran losing out 2 spots.
Yeah.
Oh, and nearly coming to a stop. He goes
Oh!
off track. Oh,
Did you
what's
see the
that?
Porsche
I
there?
did not. Let me rewind it.
Trying to like bunny hop the curb.
Oh, I see. He's roadblock.
Unlucky. It looked like he was just on the inside and hit the sausage curb, launched into space.
And looks like Kinger fell off the battle with Bellinger. He's now behind Josh Damiani, so he took advantage of that situation. But Josh has got a whole train of drivers behind him, so he's sweating bullets right now, along with all the water spraying through the doors
Right.
of the of our McLaren, Team McLaren. A lot of drivers looking for the spot. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 drivers looking for the 21st position.
Andrew Anderson. No, excuse me. It's Brian Anderson. Never mind. I got the Andersons mixed up. was wondering why he fell so far, but he did not. Never mind.
Kim looks like he had a self-inflicted situation there. I didn't catch the whole thing, but he was sitting in the middle of the track. Back on track now, still a little squirrely. Sitting in 30th position. Evan's going to have a little better luck this race, as it looks like Kinger gets around Damiani. Damiani is still not free of the pressure. Nordstrom and Wagner are both looking for that position, as Nordstrom is sitting on the inside of Damiani.
Well, we got a fight brewing.
We really do.
Oh, as Kinger slides off.
Oh no!
Oh, and he collects two more.
Oh no, that's Daihi and Kinger, both off the. Man, that's
Oh
unfortunate.
no! I don't want to look at that again.
After being a quite substantial lap 1 incident there,
At least the pit's right there.
now in another
Yeah.
another incident. We'll see if he can bring it back on track, or if that will be the end of his race.
So sorry, guys. Damn.
That's heartbreaking.
A little self-inflicted spin there, it looks like, and
Oh, a
as
little rubbing
someone-
in the pit.
Wagner gets in front of Damiani. Damiani's still chilling though, sitting in 22nd position, with pressure from behind from Nordstrom and McCroat, and Gardner. Gardner, who we were watching previously, absolutely tear up the field. He's hungry for these positions. All these drivers within a tenth of each other. Damiani is sweating bullets right now. A lot of really fast boys behind him. I know Josh Damiani, really good friend of mine. He's been sweating bullets all season. He wasn't very confident going into the season with moving up from D2 after sweeping the championship. But he thought he wasn't prepared for D1. But he's been holding his own so far, as he gets a little loose coming out on the straight here. That's not going to be good for him, as McCroat passes him, and Nordstrom is going to look to do the same. Looking on the inside, the 96 of Chris Stefiak is also looking to pass him. Josh is in a really hairy situation right here.
It really is. Gotta say though, he was crushing it in D2. Absolutely deserves a spot in D1.
So as I predicted before, P1 and P2 have now rapidly caught up on the train in the back of the pack. So this is going to be a little chaotic. Gets around the first guy just fine. Hopefully the rest follow. And there's P3 flashing his lights saying, "Hey, I'm here too. don't cut me off."
Damiani losing these positions, unfortunately, after leading this train for quite a while. Now sitting in 25th position, still with a little pressure from behind. 2.2 seconds off. He's going to have Nordstrom, as it looks like Fimbres Casas is trying to come through, as Damiani is a blue flag now to Fimbres Casas and Riley. Riley is caught back up. I'm going to go back up to the leaders here in the picture-in-picture.
Oh, don't worry.
Riley
I got
is
the main
a
camera on the leaders.
Oh,
Casas
I'll leave it to you
work.
then. Fimbres Casas is doing really well today.
I can remember last race, he had some crazy battles as well. He's really showing up. Is this his first or second series with us?
At least his second.
Yeah, this is his second, I believe.
Alright. He's absolutely showing up. If anyone's curious, so looking at the last lap times here, you know, the best lap time put down tonight was a 1:44.2, and now everyone's putting down 1:50, 1:51s for the most part. So
That's
pretty
about right.
substantial, you're right, nearly a 6-7 second uptick just with the wet.
Yeah, that's the kind of time I would be very happy to put down in proper wet.
Absolutely.
Another blue flag navigated. It's just brutal for these blue flags because it's a big pack. Oh, what happened here? We got two cars stopped in the final corner. If you can get a replay of that, Stefiak. But yeah, anybody getting lapped right now has got to fall back quite a bit to let all the cars through.
Looks like McCroat may have had a spin on his own, and the
Oh.
96 of Stefiak
Drove him into the
kind
wall.
of followed him around. Yep.
Oh, and then where do you go? You reverse and you expose even more of your car to the line. Oh, what a nightmare place to be.
Yeah, very unfortunate. McCroat with a little bit of front end damage now. Going to have to navigate Josh Damiani again. Actually, scratch that. Looks like he's got right past him. Still really squirrely in the rear end of the car. Going to be tough to handle with all that damage for the rest of the race.
That's true.
And Kim is caught back up from his little spin. Now 6/10 off of Jay Allen. Another D2 transplant. Doing pretty well for himself up here in D1.
I love that angle from the rear of the car. Shows how razor thin the margins are.
Yep.
You know, between these two drivers in the wet, but they're both able to keep it on track, both able to keep, you know, minimal if any contact. It's pretty amazing stuff.
When Riley trying to get the trying to get a later apex and switch up the inside, not quite able to get it.
Ran and Quick battling it out right now. These two drivers have had a bit of an
Oh, and
unfortunate
Riley's
race.
off.
Riley's off.
Oh no.
He's swirly under brakes. And he joins his
Hits
teammate,
that wall
Vicini.
hard. Hits that wall hard. It's probably had a pretty substantial amount of damage.
Looks like he's able to keep it in a straight line, but I'm sure he's chattering with Vicini trying to figure out what to do now.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but it looked like a pretty substantial slam with the front left of that car.
I didn't see that, but I was hopping cameras, and my viewport is small.
Wig rockets past Duran as it looks like he's struggling a little bit on the track as now Moses passes him quite handedly. I'm not sure what's going on with Duran here. He's struggling a little bit with the handling. He does have a little bit of damage on the front end of his car, but it shouldn't be too much. I wonder what tires he has on right now.
Surely
Very
wets.
curious to know. But I just saw a splash and dash from him at the pits. So, unless he took wets to begin with, he might be on dries.
That would be something.
I mean, it is like a significant change of pace. Chris Moses passing him just a minute ago, now has a 3-second gap to Duran behind.
So James Riley does eventually tuck behind his teammate Felipe Vicini, taking P2. Hopefully Felipe can lead the charge now against Diego.
Definitely quite a gap to make up there. 1.6 seconds. It definitely can be done in the final 15 minutes here of the race.
When Max Sanchez getting a run up the inside of Jason Allen, and he's got it.
Suck it.
Nice
I'm gonna
move,
say
Max.
I'm going to say with some confidence that Duran is on dry tires. I see him sliding around the track, really struggling with this car.
Dad is
maybe
saying it's old wets.
old wets, possibly.
He might have taken old wets from the start
Yeah.
and just be riding them out.
Bellinger and McCroat in a tough battle here as McCroat kind of, makes himself known and pushes him out a little bit. Bellinger now 1.6 behind. Bellinger now under immediate pressure from Nordstrom behind. Nordstrom's also got a train of blue flags behind him. It's like Nick Sand overtakes Evan Kim, and Travis Robinson overtakes his teammate Victor Diaz. Interesting little battle going on there. Travis Robinson had a bit of an unfortunate incident at the beginning of last week, Monza. For all those who sim race know that T1 Monza can be very treacherous, and had a bit of a slide in the grass, and unfortunately got a penalty of a stop-go 30 at the beginning of this race. Very impressive to see him up in 31st position, which is no mean feat for having to stop for 30 seconds in the pits. Great drive from him.
Got quite a bit of traffic behind him. Point 1 and point 1, the driver's putting on a ton of pressure.
He's driving confidently though. He's keeping his
He is,
line.
but is that a...
Oh, that's a Porsche getting squirrely in front of him.
Yeah.
Cutting across. That was
My
scary.
goodness,
Holy.
That was scary. That was scary.
I hope he's wearing his brown
Crow.
pants.
McCrow making moves. If this is McCrow's first race with us, he's made a name for himself.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you that right now.
Dromo and Gardner duking it out right now. Looks like Gardner just overtook him for a position. Dromo only 0.4 seconds behind. Dromo, we know, has some good pace, so we're going to see if he can catch up, as it looks like he's losing a couple tenths with each passing second here.
Yeah, not a great exit out of that last turn. Just lost a bit of time, but I do have faith. I also love the livery, so I may be a bit biased.
Yeah, I mean, the chicken tendies on the back is a fantastic touch. He's even got the tendy matching wheels.
The Tendy matching wheels is, as of next season, required.
Yeah, I do think it should be required for all drivers on track. If you have tendies on your cars, it's got to have matching tendy wheels. It'd be nice if we could get like a GTA 5 Los Santos Customs kind of vibe going on here.
Oh hell
you
yeah!
can, like, into the pits, put some like dollar signs or some big 24-inch chromes on. You know that would really change the whole livery game.
Last season, we had one livery. I remember, I think it was D2. I want to say T Career, or was it the Bentleys? I don't remember, but they had a GTA 5 livery sponsored or inspired by Pisswasser.
Yes,
I love that.
That was Greer.
That was awesome.
Sanchez getting by Damiani as he keeps falling back positions now, sitting in 27th position. Damiani had a good lick at the beginning of the race, but now he's struggling with the handling of the car, hitting curb left and right here. Let's see if he can hang on to 27th position. I know he'd be relatively happy with that position considering how the season's been going so far, but I would like to see him do a little bit better. But yeah, the handling out here, you can't blame him. It's really tough. Like we were saying before.
Menning keeping a pretty good distance though, keeping Boardman at bay. Fimbres Casas and Vicini have also got a little bit more distance than they had previously. So Fimbres Casas maintaining, a pretty fantastic consistency to keep people.
He's doing great.
Off him.
So I'm just now seeing the 90s style antenna on the top of the Brooks's Mercedes, and that's fantastic. I didn't know what you guys were talking about before, but that's fantastic. I think every car should have that. It's a shame that they don't. I love that. If you have a Mercedes and you do not have that light on your car, what are you doing? Get out of here. You got to go back to the drawing board with your whole scheme. Get that up there, and then maybe I'll give you a favorable review.
Basley calling us out in the chat.
Wagner getting lapped. Letting our leaders through. Nice and clean.
What was Basley saying?
I guess we missed a pass or two.
Ooh.
Menning overtook Boardman.
Duran losing another position to Stefik. Sliding around like crazy. You can see him out there. Now he's spun, yellow flagged off the side of the track, letting the other drivers by. I feel like he could definitely get back out. Yep, now sitting in 22nd position. Definitely a shame for him. Not a good race. Rapidly losing pace. Duran, I hate to inform you, this is not Pro Drift Simulator. This is GT3 Simulator.
Common mistake. Don't worry about it.
Big battle ensuing here. Nordstrom, San, and Bellinger and Sanchez. All looking for the same position. Sanchez and Bellinger do pull away a little bit here, but quite a tight battle here.
Oh my God.
And they're side by side coming out of it.
Who's got a better exit? That McLaren's. hoping that there's no chaos up here this
Oh,
turn.
Oh, no.
Travis does go deep into it.
Nick Sand gets away.
Oh, and the McLaren goes
Bellinger's
sideways.
sliding. Oh, no.
Excuse me, I think it was Bellinger that went deep into Jason.
Was able to keep it. No, I don't think there was contact there.
Side by side as Nordstrom gets ahead, even with all that damage all around the car.
Look at his car, my God.
It looks like he's barely holding on.
That's just throw that out after the race. That is total.
Yeah, that's a tin can right there. Bellinger's still struggling hard with the handling of his vehicle as he lets some more people pass.
Yeah. Oh, that's
1.8 seconds off of the driver. Evan Kim sitting in 29th position, 4/10 off of the car in front, Jay Allen.
Just saw a Team McLaren in the pit there. I wonder who that was and what the reason was.
Uh-oh. Team McLaren. Oh, that's Josh Damiani. I don't know what he's doing. Maybe he was struggling with the handling too much of the car and had to get something fixed or tires changed. I'm not sure. As Damiani falls back to 33rd position. Grant still falling back even more positions now. Just gave up the position for Dromo, Sanchez, and San. Now sitting in 25th as he heads into the pits. Yeah, I would too, buddy. The handling of that car. As he spins around again, this is the same thing that happened. Oh, he's done. He's done. He just teleported back to pits.
He's at it.
Yeah, I can't blame him. This has been Drift Simulator for him, and that was the final call right there.
We told him he couldn't park there, and he didn't like that.
Yeah.
He didn't like it.
Well, maybe he needs to get his glasses adjusted. Big no parking symbol there on the side.
Unlucky for him.
Didn't pay the toll. Dromo and Sanchez battling it out here. Looks like Sanchez overtakes Dromo for a position. Dromo has been steadily losing some positions here. See how he fares at the end of the race. Now falling off even further, 7/10 off the car that just passed him. So this is where you see those strategies really come into play here as people slingshot around each other. Those who had wets before and are staying out are really regretting it. Those who are staying out with dries definitely are regretting it. Hopefully no one's still out there on the dries. I assume everyone must be on the wets. But yeah, this is where the strategy really comes into play. Only 5 minutes left of the race, so people are going to be trying to make those last couple positions. Those
I don't
last
know where
pushes.
the time went. Just
This was a
It
yeah,
did
this was a fun
just
race.
fly by. And with that said, yeah, we have 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes left. We still have a heater of a fight between P1 and P2. They have not left each other's sight. And I'm going to stick with them till the end.
That's a great idea because you know that they're going to try to be making those last couple of moves there. P2 is going to be pushing for that position as Quigg, Brooks, and Rust are all tangled up with each other, and Quigg's 3/10 off the back of Brooks, trying to get back up with his teammate so they can finish this one together.
4 minutes left, and there's another blue flag up ahead. I think they're going to catch them before it's over.
James Riley, I gotta give him credit. He slammed into the wall there, so he's got contact, but he's managed to keep it in 3rd place.
Yep, keeping his car on track. Yeah, you can see the damage, actually. Yeah.
There it is. Credit to him.
Those cars look so fast going around that corner. I love it.
Oh, great camera angle there. The picture-in-picture battle looks pretty good too.
What are
You
we
can
looking
see
at
here-
down there?
This is the battle between Brooker Quigg and L. Brooks. They are 4/10 off of each other, gaining, losing in every single corner, so this has been an interesting one. Like I said, Brooks is trying to get up with his teammate, Patrick Rust, so they can finish this one together.
Flashing the guy. There you go, the blue flag.
Yep.
What's
So
interesting
Diego
is
gets
you actually
around.
look at the Delta. Sorry, go ahead.
Diego gets around. Now it's Felipe's turn, and oh, what the worst thing you want to see, the blue flag in front of you right at the exit of an apex. He isn't held up much longer though, so not all tears.
1.5 Delta maintains that. What's funny is you see where each driver's strong and weak, because you'll see the
Oh,
Delta
we have an
change.
accident. Excuse me. Dylan Stallworth and Grant Cleansing come around and damn near go do a pirouette. It looks like they haven't paid any positions for it. Just some pride. And Diego has come across another blue flag. He's tearing through him right now.
Same picture. You just saw Team McLaren just passing Jason Allen. It was Travis Robinson. Like I said before, had that stop and go 30 at the beginning of the race and making the best of it, sitting in 27th position. Still a lot of points to be had back there, so he's doing a great job and catching up to a lot of people who did not have that disadvantage. So great drive from him. Going back to this fight between Quigg and Brooks, now closer than ever. But you can see the amount of spray that comes off of these cars. But still, the spray, while the track is wet, really coats the windshield, makes it even harder to follow. Not easy to be following close and make moves. The vision loss is quite significant.
Absolutely. Not to mention, at this point, the puddles are pretty significant. And what you can, if you hit one at the wrong angle, you can really just take yourself out. So credit to these drivers.
Team McLaren, we saw in the picture sitting off on the side of the track. That was Josh Damiani.
Unlucky
filtering into 33rd position. So very unlucky race for him towards the end. He had a great beginning and middle going for him, but yeah, as he's just sitting here.
Last minute, if anyone in chat wants to see a really quick splash of one of their favorite drivers, let us know, because I think we're going to be covering the top two for the last 30 seconds or so.
Evan Kim trying to get past Jason Allen, and Bellinger and Robinson are duking it out in these last 30 seconds left of the race.
Diego still pulling a healthy gap on Felipe. I think he's got P1 in the bag. It'll be a P2 and P3 finish for the Cartoon Network boys.
And the update on our little sideshow, the mouse is still trying to get at me. What's going on? It's getting all around me.
What's going on over there, Paul?
I don't know, man.
Holy shit. That's crazy.
Durance and Jeffries going in for their last minute battle here, 4/10 off. As they're going back into the first turn here. I know Jeffries is one of our resident meat smokers.
Stallworth nearly losing the rear end there. Would have paid the price pretty dearly.
The leader has finished the race.
And congratulations to Diego for a, I won't say commanding, but a very exciting P1 finish. Great drive. And the same to Felipe for a great P2. And James Riley for keeping him honest for the first stint there. Your teammate had to take the reins there, but great showing from the team there. And if you do want to be interviewed, please make it easy on us and put yourself in a voice channel chat that's preferably high up, so I don't have to drag you terribly far.
Also, if we drag you in the cooldown room, stay the hell in there.
Yes.
Stop jumping out. Last time I kept dragging people in there and they kept jumping out.
I don't want to be interviewed. I don't want to be interviewed.
You don't have a choice.
It's all for the content, guys. It's content.
Right. Gotta feed the algo gods. Come on, don't make this difficult for us.
Billiard for P2 for the Silver Division, and Stallworth for P3 in the Silver Division, if you could write that down for us. Brooks and Quigg, or rather, yeah, Brooks and Quigg still battling it out.
P3 silver in the chat. So yeah, the silver, Schwartz, Dilliard, Stallworth, top three.
Thank you.
Here we go. Man, where'd the race go? What happened?
That felt like 40 minutes to me from going live to now.
I think that
Let's
the
look at some of
admins.
major position gains. I mean, Boardman making a whopping 27 spots.
Stallworth 20.
Finished in 10th place.
What a
Stallworth 20.
things really shook up this race, huh?
I know Vicini though, like looking. So Vicini in 2nd place made 8 positions. Schwartz in 4th place 10. Dilliard in 5th 12. That's just some of them. Brooks in 16th 22. These guys making moves here. Boardman takes the top spot though with the maximum amount of positions gained with again a whopping 27. Doing work. Fantastic race.
And once again, congratulations to Primus Casas, as we're going to try to get some of these drivers in now. See if we can
where are they
steal
at?
some of them.
I want to give some love to like the silvers here, because look at the position on the left here of the silvers. So you have 4th, 5th, and 7th, which is actually pointed out by Funk in the chat. The silvers did pretty substantial moves, right? I mean, they're racing up there with the golds.
No slouches, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
So if you could remind me of some of the drivers that we're looking for to pull up here, as I'm struggling. to
Diego,
Nimbus Casas,
Vicini, and Riley. I
Riley
can't
are the
find them
right
either. I
ones.
just scanned all the channels. I didn't see them. They're hiding from us.
And we have in the silver, it's Schwartz, Dilliard, and Stallworth.
I think I saw Stallworth. Dylan Stallworth, I'm grabbing you. Don't be surprised. And I just we'll start with Diego. I found him. One moment. Diego, great drive. Tell us about it.
Hello, thank you. Yeah, I mean that was a hard race. That was it reminded me of the Hungaro ring race from last season, where we pretty much had the same conditions, where it was dry at the start and then it got wet. So it's really a hard thing to judge, to be honest. You really like have to throw. I mean, you have to be lucky, but at the same time you have to like put you in a position to be successful, you know.
Definitely.
But I mean, I'm glad I took the decisions I did. I'm glad I started on dries. I mean, I think that was the thing that won me the race.
Yeah,
to be
we were
honest.
speculating that might be the winner.
Yeah, definitely, because I mean, since I said that it was going to rain in 30 minutes, I said, you know what, I'm starting on dries. Like, there's no point in starting on wets, since you're just gonna screw your wets up. You're just gonna make them like pretty much useless.
Yeah,
So I said, you know what,
real
I'm just
hard.
gonna. Yeah, so I'm just gonna use the dries, and if it starts raining, I'll just turn the TC up, and then I'll just wait until I can get into the pits, until the pit window opens. I mean.
Well, good
Yeah,
call.
so that seemed to be the winning strategy tonight. We saw a lot of people taking a lot of different strategies. Maybe some folks weren't quite as prepared as some others. As we saw a lot of people go out on the wets, lose a ton of positions, and then try to stay out on those wets and lose even more positions with their completely burned up and destroyed wets. So that was definitely the right choice to make, and a great call. But yeah, absolutely fantastic drive from you, and it was not alone. That's for sure. You had 2 drivers breathing up your neck the entire race. How was that?
Yeah, I was under pressure pretty much all race long, but to be honest, I just knew I had them on their acceleration. I pretty much made, for example, on top of the mountain at the hairpin, I pretty much made like around 0.2 seconds, like on the exit, 2/10s. So it was just a matter of keeping it on track, and I knew the instant they got close to me, they're going to be bothered by the spray. So it's just a matter of me keeping the car on track and just driving my own race and not pushing 100%. So I mean, I was managing my pace to a level where I was fast enough, but not like pushing balls to the wall, you know, because I didn't want to crash. But yeah, it was a good drive by it was Vicini, Felipe Vicini, and you know, his teammate damn it, I forgot.
Riley.
Yeah, Riley. Yeah, Riley. Yeah, they were doing really good, really good. They had a lot of pace in the dry.
I do
yeah.
think Riley eventually would have gotten you if he did not have that off track and some damage. Because he was setting best laps that was a little bit faster than you, and he was really reeling in that gap. But it all kind of unraveled, and then it was up to his teammate, who was only able to keep up with you. So great job maintaining and expanding your lead in the standings. You
Yeah,
are
thank you.
currently our driver, our leader, and yeah, even more so now.
Yeah,
The points you're seeing on screen, audience, right now is not updated for this race. This was standings as of the start of this race.
yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
So, do you have anyone that you want to shout out or any tips for the drivers for tomorrow?
Tips. I mean, for D2 and D3, I think the best tip I can give is just this is a race of attrition, as you could tell in D1. I don't know how it was in D4, but in D1, I had to avoid I don't know how many crashes, which was interesting.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of keeping yourself off from accidents and just keeping the car on track, and you'll go places. I mean, you don't really want to be pushing 100% balls to the wall all the time because I mean at the end of the day, like in these conditions, like you're more there's more chance of you making a mistake or just just that the mistakes amplify under these conditions. So
Yep.
it's just a matter of keeping it safe.
And so I know this particular race wasn't dedicated to a certain doggo, but you want to give a shout out towards your little buddy?
Yes, rest in peace, my girl Chiquis. We actually got her ashes today, so I think maybe it was a bit poetic to get the W.
I'll rest in
Yeah,
peace,
well-
chickies.
Hey,
Yeah.
looking down on you from heaven, making sure you continue with those dubs. So,
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
all right, thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Diego, and hope to see you up here many more times this season.
I'm sure we
Alrighty.
will.
Thank you for having me. Have a good one, guys. Good night.
See ya.
Yep.
Bye bye. Take care.
All right, and Felipe's here and ready to go, so let's drag him in. Hey, Felipe. Great drive,
Hello.
man. Pretty exciting,
Thank you.
especially towards the end of the second stint. Is a will they, won't they kind of thing. Why don't you tell us about it from your perspective?
Man. Well, James was driving really well, but I forget the name of that corner, but that fast left-hander.
Yep.
The Ferrari just bottoms out there. Normally, it's okay on entry, but I guess I started feeling it too towards the end of the race where it would bottom out and you would just slightly lose it, right? So I think he just kind of like wasn't expecting it, overcorrected a little bit, and just he kept the throttle pinned, and that didn't help. But I think he just had aero damage. So it wasn't too bad. But then, I mean, Ferrari has no pace in the straights, even with a full wing here. So there was nothing I could do with Fimbres Casas. He was just fast in all the right places.
Yeah. So,
But yeah, it was a good race.
was there any team chatter about how you guys were gonna play this after the spin, or what was going on through you guys' heads?
No, it was like as soon as James we went out onto the main straight, turns 2, 3, all that stuff. He was like, yeah, just let go, because he could tell immediately he was going to be off pace. And that was basically it. After that, I was going to try and see if I could do something, but I knew that if James couldn't get around him, there was no way I could do it. So I was just waiting to see if he would make a mistake into a braking zone or something, just do a classic Porsche thing and die. But sadly, that didn't happen. But yeah, I mean, the Ferrari feels really good at Kyalami. It's just the straight line speed is just not there, so it's very difficult to overtake.
Well, absolutely fantastic race from you guys, and hopefully next week you guys can, try to tag team a win there for you guys' team, and
Yeah.
hope to see you up in the booth again. Do you have any tips or tricks for the drivers that are going to be doing this next week, or rather tomorrow?
Actually, I do have one. For at least the Ferrari drivers, going into the pits, I know we had a couple people spin on entry. I don't know, right?
Seen that.
Okay.
We did see
Yeah.
that.
I know. Yeah. Okay. So here's what happens with the Ferrari. If you go underneath 35 kilometers an hour in the Ferrari, the TC cuts off. And I think that's what was happening with some people that were like getting off the gas, turning left, and then getting the gas and then spinning. So in the wet, with wet tires, you can just take that, pit limiter, full throttle, no problem at all. Just take like a wet entry and go, and it's not an issue. If you're on dry tires and it's like wet, maybe be careful, but definitely don't go below 35 if you can avoid it, and you'll be fine. But because yeah, I think what Duran spun a couple times there, or at least once today, and then I know
Twice.
Dahy spun there yesterday
Yeah.
during the practice race. So it's just one of those things you don't really think about, but if you spin there, you lose what, 10, 15 seconds if you don't have any
if
damage.
not more, yeah. And,
Yeah.
and that's if no one is, coming in behind you too.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. So
that is fantastic advice for the Ferrari drivers. Yeah. Thank you so
I
much.
think most cars turn the TC off under a certain speed. So just maybe if you drive whatever car you drive, just try to figure it out what the speed that is, and then just keep in mind don't don't go below that speed if you can avoid it.
All right, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us up here today, and hope to see you many more times up in the booth this season.
All right. Thank you.
And,
Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, see you next time.
All right. Thank you. See you. Good night.
Good night. And
night.
now we'll get your teammate James Riley in here. Hey James, great drive. Tell us about it.
Oh, it was pretty wild. Felipe and I were having a tiny freak out moment.
Yeah,
just
we saw.
actually with setup to actually run in the race. So we ended up going with a dry setup, and then had to port over wet pressures into the setup and everything like that. And then we decided to take full fuel just so that in case we had to pit outside the pit window or anything else like that, it would work out. But
Right.
it's a pretty good race. Unfortunately, I did have a slight bump on lap 2 at the top of the hill with an Aston. But I waited for him and let him back through. So hopefully the stewards will look kindly on that. But it was a good race. It was a lot of fun. I love the mixed conditions. It's like my favorite races.
Yeah, it was very interesting for a lot of drivers out there. Many favorites to win wound up spinning, crashing, or a multitude of different things on lap 1 and many laps thereafter. And you know, uh,
Sometimes multiple of those multitudes of things. Today
yeah,
he had 2 different wrecks. Terrible.
yeah, brutal ones too. And his teammate Dom Duran had an unfortunate race, and Tyler had to drop out of the race early. So yeah, it was a very interesting race, very entertaining, and a great battle that you put on for the entire first stint of the race, with Fimbres
Well into the
Casas
second.
yeah, well into the second, until that little spin that you had there. I mean, what was going on through your head? We talked with your teammate a little bit there before about what the team play was like there, but what was it like for you?
It was Fimbres Casas is he's got quite the mental fortitude there. He was not falling for really anything. I got him on one dummy to go deep once, and then we went almost too wide into what me and my buddies call yeet curb. As everyone knows, it'll yeet you into oblivion if you hit it. And we almost went too wide in there, and I backed out sensibly and stuff like that. But yeah, he's so fast. He was fast in all the right parts too. So he was pulling on the Ferrari in the straight with the full wing that we were running. So imagine a Porsche out pulling you, and that is the life of the Ferrari.
Oof.
So
That's a big oof.
yeah, so he outdragged us on the pits every time, on the straights every time. So try to catch him in there and stay as close to his bumper as possible to force a mistake. But he made no mistakes. He deserved the win. It was a great drive from him.
It was a great drive from both of you guys. Really, probably one of the more entertaining races that we've had here up in the booth. I think I say that every time because this whole season has been just insanity. So it's been a pleasure watching you, and hopefully you can secure that win and stay a little bit more consistent for next race, and we'll see you up here in the booth next week.
Exactly. Yes. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it. Take care.
See ya.
Too. Bye. All right. So is Stallworth one of our silver winners?
So Stallworth is 3rd. So we have Schwartz, who's in 1st, and Dilliard, who was in 2nd.
So
Schwartz, I believe we can drag up.
Yes, I have Shorts sitting in his personal chat here, so I'm gonna try to.
Yeah, you have to drag them up.
Yeah, well, no, maybe you can get figured out.
Did you do it?
Oh, he's in the cooldown. He's in the cooldown. Okay. All right. Matt Shorts.
Hey, Matt.
Yo.
P1 for the Silver Division. How does it feel?
I felt good. Those are always fun races to do. Yeah, it was good. Good. Car felt good. Always fun to switch conditions and get a little bit of strategy differences and pass a bunch of people early on dries. So.
Yeah, the strategy was quite interesting watching it from up here in the booth for a lot of different drivers. Didn't work out for many, and it felt like a rough race all around, except for a few people who got it just absolutely perfect. And you being one of them. You had a great drive out there, and obviously it shows with the P1 for silver. Lap one was a big scuffle between a lot of the upper mid pack. How'd you fare out with that? Did you see any of that?
Yeah, it was really tight, and then there was that day he seemed to get a little loose in turn 7, and I think kind of caught up Chris, my teammate, and I got a.
Y'all better be watching the Twitch stream while we interview the race winners.
Then I had a very tight battle with Michael Moaning, Durand, Vicini, and Ryan.
Menning.
That was very entertaining in the early stages. Kept me on my toes. Would recommend going to take a look at some of that. When we were passing Durand, I gave Vicini a bump draft to get him ahead, and then I followed him through on the outside in the next corner to get Durand, and then that was pretty much the last big overtake I had of the race because I was just slightly slower than the leaders per lap. It was like 2/10, so I just kind of just settled into that P4 spot and brought it home.
Yeah, I mean, just you know, P1 for silver and P4 overall, that's got to feel absolutely fantastic. I mean, you've been killing it this season. I know in seasons past, may not have worked out all that well for you, but you're really coming into your own with this Honda and, uh, you know, really putting yourself on the board. It's been fantastic to see. And yeah, I,
Yeah, the
it's
results have been feeling good. I think there were some missed opportunities last week in Monza, and then Zandvoort with the engine issues that seemed to plague me. But I figured out what that issue was, and we got it fixed. And uh, yeah, I haven't had any engine failures since. But that was going through the back of my mind because that 1 week I broke 3 engines.
What?
In a
Man.
game that's not known to do that. So it turned out
That's
my the downshift paddle on my wheel was broken, so I melted it down and redid a plastic weld on it, and that seemed to do the job. So
Nice.
wow,
Handyman.
field repair there. I mean, just like in
That's
real life, technical issues
Yeah.
You gotta make
in the
do.
simulator. So, yeah, that's fantastic. You were actually able to get back out on the track, and maybe a little bit of luck there with how it broke. So, it's great to see you. I mean, it's got to even feel better, fixing the issue, and then coming out for a P1 for the silver division. It's looking like you're gonna be. I'm not sure where the standings lie right now, but you are in really good contention to win the silver division.
yeah, I'm trying not to watch that. Just take it one race at a time. Just it's been a lot of fun to just the Honda. Honestly, it's a very stable car. I will say the gearbox is a little odd. It's the only car I always feel like I'm in the wrong gear every corner. And you just like we're just gonna have to just let some of these go a little longer or shorter, but other than that, the car is very stable, much stabler than the 911. So definitely a unique jump going from one to the next. But would
Interesting.
recommend the Honda to our to any driver right now. It's absolutely been a blast.
So, that being said, do you have any tips and tricks for any Honda drivers or anyone else that's going to be doing this tomorrow?
Oh, it's definitely if you get it's really you want to spot your break point, and then you're gonna kind of really get onto your fundamentals on cornering. So 100% on the brakes, coast through the corner, get it straightened out early, and then back on the gas because gears are pretty long in the car. You really want to try to really prioritize your back on throttle for this car more so than other cars in the game because if you get on just slightly late, you kind of hear it bog down because you can't shift down because that would be too low of a gear, and you can't shift up because you'd be way off. So it's just making sure you get on the brake, off the brake, coast it until you're back straight, and then throttle it as early possible to getting out of the corners.
Well, thank you so much for joining us up here today, Mr. Schwartz, and congratulations on the silver win. And I, I'm gonna call it right now. We're gonna see you a bunch more times up here this season because it's just been a fantastic season for you. And yeah,
I'm hoping so. Hungary's marked on my calendar. Got that P2 last time, and that was a similar race to this.
oh
So
yeah, oh yeah.
we're I'm looking forward to Hungary. So I'll see you guys later.
Yep. See you
See
later.
ya.
Thank you.
See ya.
Good race. Unfortunately, I couldn't get a hold of Dilliard. Sorry, I've been quiet in the background here. I've been dragging these guys all around. But I did get Stallworth, who's waiting. So P3 Silver Division.
Mr. Stallworth, P3 for the Silver Division. You had a great race out there. I saw that you had some damage on the front of your car. I assume you got that really early on, but you still made the best of it and kept it going throughout the rest of the race. You know, it was not a quiet race for you. You had a lot of battles up and down the grid. So, how are you feeling out there? I mean, where'd that damage come from?
Yeah, I feel really good. For best result by like 20 positions this season, so
Yeah.
take that any day. But yeah, no, lap one, you know how it is. Couple bumps, a little bit of damage to the front, so luckily it wasn't too bad. Didn't really notice it much.
Yeah, we watched a little bit of that lap one in the stream here. It was so chaotic because there was stuff happening all up and down the grid. I mean, what was that like for you? It looked like chaos from up here.
Oh, it was about survival. I mean, the first little bump in, I think it was like turn three. We actually just watched it. It's like a little chain incident, but so the rest of the lap, I'm thinking like, wow, I'm about to get a penalty for this. I just hope I don't get quality banned or something. And then I'm dodging cars left and right. So definitely entertaining. A lot of fun.
Yeah, it was definitely entertaining for us here in the booth. I mean, that hour race felt like it was only 30 minutes. I was about to call up a steward and be like, hey, I think you got something wrong here. But it turns out the race just ended. It was a full hour and it was so entertaining. Blink your eyes and you'll miss it. There was action happening all up and down the grid for the entire race. Sans for like a middle lull after the pit window, but the strategies really came into play for a lot of people, and there was a lot of top contenders that missed out there. So, what was your strategy like, and how did that benefit you?
Oh, that was just really a shot in the dark. Me and my teammate Derek were talking on our voice chat before, looking at all the changing conditions. We're like, yeah, we're just gonna try going on slick, see what happens. So ended up working out perfect. It started raining exactly halfway through the race when the pit window opened. Able to get in right when it opened, and yeah, I think that's our application for Ferrari. They need a strategy replacement. So
Yeah, a little F1 insight there. Maybe you can be the team manager over there, get them straightened out. But yeah, it was a fantastic race from you, and we've been watching you all season up here on the streams, and I was very impressed with this drive, and overall impressed with your driving this season. And I definitely hope to see you up here again. I think you have the chops for it. It's just fantastic watching you, and this is your first P3 for the Silver Division here in Division One at SRA, and hopefully there's many more of these because it's been really wonderful having you up here. But yeah, do you have any last words, tips, tricks, or shout outs, anything like that?
Yeah, first of all, I appreciate you. It's definitely good to be up here. See if it ever happens again. But yeah, I just need to work on that consistency. Shout out to my teammate Derek for the setup. He's been carrying gas or die all season, so shout out to him, and hopefully we'll be back next race.
All right, and yeah, definitely hope to have you up here. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Stallworth, and yeah, have you know, congratulations again on the P3.
Thank you.
See you
Y'all
next
have a good
time.
night. Yep.
All right, and with the interviews over, I believe this concludes our season 4, week 4 stream here at Kyalami in the Wet. A very interesting race indeed.
No doubt.
Yeah, and if you enjoyed this race, make sure to go to simracingalliance.com or discord.gg/simracingalliance and join up today so you can participate in the fun. We are I guess we are halfway through the season of our 8-race season. So if you want to join up, now's the time. And
it's not too
if
late to
you're-
join this season. You can race.
Not too late. Yep.
Join mid-season, noob friendly, custom liveries.
We got a place for everybody.
What more could you want?
And even if you're a little nervous to join into our main division, our main series here at SRA, there's plenty of opportunities for fun. We have our multi-class mayhem series running on Friday nights, and we have coaching sessions going on either Thursday or Friday nights. So be sure to join in for that. And once again, shout out to our sponsors. Let me take a look at that real quick. Our sponsors, Roby Toady, Daehee Yun, Joshua Arnold, Evan Kim, Paulie Hartman, Thomas Greer, Dominic Durand, Zach Sky, Tyler James ×4, Jacob Wolfman, Mr. Partyman, Fazli Majid, Kyle McGinnis, Ramon Lorenzo, Stephanie Fisher. Those are our title sponsors. And for our SRA sponsors, Daniel Gutierrez, Philip Menzies, Michael Jeffries, Mr. Meat Smoker, DeWall Bandery, Koa Dromo, who we saw here tonight, Nate Allen, and Justin Rowley up here in the booth with us today.
Thanks for all the
So
support, guys.
Yeah,
thank
absolutely.
Thank you so much for the support, and we couldn't do this without you guys and making this all happen and helping us
Well,
pay for
to be
some of the
clear,
costs.
we
And
could, but yeah, we wouldn't have so many servers.
look, man, I'm just trying to sum it up here, okay? I'm hyping up the sponsors, okay? We desperately need you. No.
Set
Yeah,
reasonable
but,
expectations. Your donations do go to paying bills and not just lining Tyler's pockets.
well, as far as we know, I'm gonna have to get the audit going here from the SRA Association. But
KPMG to audit SRA.
yeah, but thank you so much, guys, and thank you so much for tuning in. And like I said, if you're interested in joining, please join up. But with that being said, thank you for watching tonight, and
See you next
signing
time.
off. This is Paulie Hartman, joined by
Jess Osborne.
And Justin
And-
Rowley.
See you guys. Good night.
Good
The
night.
mouse is still here.
Catch the
Oh my
mouse.
I
That's
can't,
great.
bro. He's too fast.
It's just been running around your feet
It's
this
just
whole
been
time.
running around my feet the whole time. This is insanity. It's a little sideshow over here at the
That
SRA
is
stream.
mind blowing.
Destroy the mouse.
That is